Hey, I'm Juliet. When it comes to the sport of kings, I only trust one source, Past the Wire TV.
There are all kinds of ways to prepare to go into battle. I prefer this.
Sure, bad coffee.
You're watching Past the Wire TV.
Ciao, Todi. I don't know how else to say it, but I wish this was a happier show. We're going to look at the Demoiselle, the Remsen, the Cigar Mile. We got a bonus because we got the Thoragraphs for the Remsen. So we're going to combine our handicapping with the Thoragraphs, which when we did that last week, even though I was dead wrong about magnitude, we're going to combine the Thoragraphs with a little bit of handicapping, which a lot of people liked and asked for. Why is it sad? Because it's probably, although there's a little bit of a question mark there, because construction schedules in the Big Apple can get a little fugazi at times, but this could very well be the last Demoiselle, Remsen, and Cigar Mile we see at the once glorious Big A. Now, for a lot of you, that may not mean a whole lot, but for those of us that grew up going to the Big A, Aqueduct, in the wintertime, trudging through the snow, freezing on the way in, freezing on the way out, doing whatever you could to stay warm in there during the races. It's a special place, and it's sad to see any racetrack go by the wayside, even though they are building a new Belmont, so it's not like, theoretically we're losing race dates. They're still going to race in the wintertime in New York, but they're not going to do it at Aqueduct. And, it's just sad to see the place run down to what it looks like now. I remember when the Equestrius first opened that restaurant, and it was like the benchmark for all racetrack, dining at the time. It was like, wow. Now I hear there's bird crap in there and everything. Forget about it. It's like a disaster. But what are you going to do? Things change. We roll with the punches. And hopefully we can pick a couple of winners along the way. So without further ado, we are going to take what I like to call a high level. And for those of you that are going to question that terminology, by definition, everything that we do here is on a high level, because once again, if you're here, you ain't sitting in the cheap seats, and we don't play for the cheap seats. So that's that. We will start with the ladies, the Demoiselle, mile and an eighth, late in the year for 2-year-old fillies, hopefully 2-year-old fillies with Kentucky Oaks aspirations, because now's the time we start looking at Oaks and Derby possible horses, formulating little opinions. The first Derby radar show, I believe, is going to be next week after the Remsen. And then we'll be doing them regularly up until the Kentucky Derby. Now, another sad thing, solo otra vez, alone. What am I going to do? Scheduling, different reasons. Big Jim's doing his show on Sunday mornings, Big Race Jim. We're going to try and get him on the Derby radar. We're going to try and get Kevin Gazzale on the Derby radar. I'm going to try and get Doug on the Derby radar. Maybe even a couple of guests. We'll see. But for this, you're stuck with yours truly. But I'm okay with that if you are. is what it is. We just roll with the punches. We do what we do, and we have fun doing it, and hopefully make a little money. So with that, let's look at these Demoiselle horses. The only race we're doing with the Thoragraphs is the Remsen. Okay. Jumping the gun from the rail. I think I apologize, has a good post. She's going to have to duplicate that Delaware form against, conceivably better horses here in New York. But she is 3 for 4. She is a gun runner out of a quality road mare. She looks like she certainly deserves the shot. I don't know how good the horses she was beating at Delaware are, and she did lose last time when she stretched out to a mile. She's going to kind of probably have a stalking style here. I don't know. I'm not sold on her. She's been the favorite every time she's ran. I could see some people gravitating to her, especially with that breeding and her running style and a nice cozy draw on the rail. But I'm going to say a filly like that's been limited to Delaware Park. I'm going to say prove it to me. I also think there's a horse in here, a filly in here that gets a significant pace advantage, and I'm going to have to lean that way before I lean to anybody else, and we'll get there in a minute. Shilling. Ken McPeak coming off 2 wins over Aqueduct, ran good in the debut, ran better in the maiden, and then ran better yet in the Tempted, where she won by 4 under Chris Elliott, beating Todd's horse, Believable, who we'll get to. Global Campaign out of an exchange rate mare. She's bred not nearly as nice as the one is, but she looks okay. I would tend to think that somebody's going to be a little bit better than her. But, like we talked about on the Thorograph shows, McPeak is always tough for me to read for some reason, and I've never been able to successfully or definitively put my finger on why that is. I don't even have a good theory really for why that is. I got some ideas, but be that as it may. Brings us to the next runner, Zany, a horse that, interestingly enough, was in Florida training at Palm Beach Downs as early November. Win November 2nd, right around Breeders' Cup time, at Gulfstream Park of all places. 22-2, 45-3, 116-4 for 6.5 furlongs. That 45-3 half kind of jumps out coming out of that sprint with Irad Ortiz. There's no reason that this filly shouldn't get the lead. American Pharaoh out of Mo Green by Uncle Mo, Mike Rapoli's horse, Noble. Should get the lead. There's no reason to try and get cute, try and educate her, try and see what else she can do. In this spot, I think you're going from a maiden into the Demoiselle, grade 2. I think you want to win it, and I think her best and most realistic shot to win is on the engine. And I think she's a big wire-to-wire threat if she goes that way. Now, Irad, if he tries to get cute and sit off a horse or see if she can rally or come off the pace or try and get an education, that may work out later down the road, but I don't think it's going to help her chances in winning. I think she should go right to the lead and try and wide ease, and I think if she does that, there's a good chance that she will, especially if the track is playing speed friendly. Brings us to the next runner. Concurrently, Chad Brown, possibly the favorite here, I'm not sure. Turf race in the debut going long, didn't go all that well, but then ran a nice race to Believable, Todd's other horse that we're going to get to. Then comes back, breaks the maiden. 2 one-turn mile Aqueduct shoot races, both nice, both good. Flavian Pratt rides. She's going to get her share of attention, but again, I tend to lean to the horse that I perceive with a pace advantage, hoping that Irad rides her that way. Ivy Girl. I don't know. I got a hard time making any kind of case for this filly. She's run, maiden claiming 40,000 twice. She did improve and win off in the second start, but I don't see her being good enough to beat these. Todd's other horse, Believable, very, very interesting. Gets Johnny for Kendrick after 2 races at Aqueduct. Goes a mile first time out and wins. Stumbles at the break, gets headed in the stretch, comes back again. That's a lot of guts. I like that. Goes right into the Tempted, loses to Schilling. But, Schilling went wide or wide that day. Only speed. They went, slow enough for a wire job to easily take place. That's what happened. She puts blinkers on. She's a curling out of a Tappet mare, another micropole horse. I think he's got this race surrounded. I think he's got the best speed and probably the best closer. I'm hoping the blinkers on are probably are for focus purposes and not for necessarily speed purposes, because I don't think that her best shot is to go and fight with Zany on the lead. I think that they should let Zany go and roll. And I think if they do, she's very, very dangerous. And I think if she falters, Todd's got the next best one, coming from off the pace. So I think that Todd Pletcher and Mike Rapoli have the Demoiselle surrounded. We'll see how that works out. I'm scrolling down now to the Remsen. And what we're going to do is, before we do the PPs of the Remsen, we're going to look at the Thorograph Numbers and Patterns, because that's what we do. And this is a combined show. This is a high-level look at those 3 stakes at Aqueduct. And then we got our look at, I apologize. Hang on. Let's move this over. I should have done that before we started, but I didn't. So we're here now. We'll roll with it. Okay. Day 1 starter from the rail, Shug. We know Shug lets his horses bring him to the races, not him bring his horses to the races. So if he's running a horse with only 3 starts here in the Remsen, he must think he's got a shot and he belongs. What do the Thorograph numbers tell us? Thorograph numbers tell us a little bit. 17 3/4 first time out, 17 1/4, 7 1/4 next, so a big jump forward, and then an anticipated regression to 13. We see a little bit of a Z pattern. We see a forward race if the Z pattern holds up. Maybe a little premature to say Z pattern off only 3 races, but it looks like it. But I could see this horse bouncing back a little bit off the 13, get back to that 7 1/4. I don't know. I would say more 9-10 range in my guesstimation, but we'll see. And I don't even know if the 7 is going to be fast enough to win the race. Paladin, Chad Brown's horse. Heck of a number, first time out, 5 3/4. Strong number. Chad's horses typically move forward in their second starts. That's a fast race. That's a quality number for a horse first time out. Make no mistake about it. That's a number that gets your attention first time out. Apologies. Must stay hydrated, they say. I did. I didn't. First start at 3. At 2, what do we got? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Still 2. Duh. 14, 13 1/2, 10, 7 3/4. Mike Baker's got a nice pattern going here. He's got that slow progression, that climbing the ladder that I love to see. I don't see any reason that we shouldn't see another forward move. I don't think this horse is bottomed out yet by any stretch of the imagination. Gets Joel Rosario. We'll get to the PPs in a moment, but The pattern is good, and 7 3/4 forward from there. Where 5, 4, 3, all doable. That puts this horse right in the mix. Grittiness, 13. Oh no, I'm sorry, 15, 17 and a half, 10 and a half. Improved last time out, runs back quick. Doesn't show a good number or a forward number the last time that he ran back quick. Maybe he's a little bit more mature now, but from a 10 and a half to go to where I think you got to go to, 8, 7, maybe. Faster than that, I'd have to see it. Not impossible with Todd at this time of year. And if he's in the race, he obviously thinks that's a possibility. But I'm not in love with the pattern. Chambersville, Ken McPeek's horse. And this is that Ken McPeek. He does this all the time. The horse looks too slow. 18, 16, 16. I was talking with Bruno DiGiulio the other day, and he happened to bring something up that I thought was very interesting. He talked about who was it? The horse that Ken McPeek won the Alabama with. The name, I forget the name for a minute, but he brought it up, and we agreed. Yeah, and the numbers look too slow, and then what happens? Goes ahead and wins. So you just never know, but I don't see it. Looks absolutely too slow and a toss to me. Courting. What do we got with courting? Courting, we've got 9 3/4, 9 3/4 paired. So we got two nice paired numbers. I think going to go forward. Has to go forward a little more than some of the others, but certainly not an insurmountable or impossible task. Off 9 3/4, I could see 5 points forward, to a 4 like that. So I like the pattern, and I think definitely fast enough. I'm going to say the same thing about Rick Dutro's horse, Igniter. 8 1/4, 8 1/4. Two nice paired numbers. A little bit faster than Todd's horse, the other one. So absolutely can go forward fast enough, to be a contender in this race, and has a pattern suggesting that's exactly what he's going to do. Corn Carnot, 19 and a half, 11, distance at 28 3/4. Was going forward, but then that last race is kind of an enigma. Distanced. Not sure what you want to say or do about that, but certainly not the way you want to go into the Remsen. Hopeless. I don't know. If we throw out that last race, 19 and a half, 11, would have to go forward significantly in order to contend. Impossible, no. Unlikely, yes. I like getting nice prices on horses that are coming off atrocious races when there's a legit excuse, and there very well could be for this one, but I'd have to see a little bit more. Renegade, 14 and a half, 7. Nice forward move for Todd. Nice. Probably going to go forward again. Got one of the better patterns in the race. 7. Where's he going? 5, 4, 3, 2. Certainly possible, which puts him absolutely square in the mix. Balboa for Brittany Russell. This one's interesting and a perfect example of a pattern that we isolate on this show. Almost every week I talk about it because it's that good of a pattern and scenario to follow. But that steady climbing progression or steady holding progression, and then bang, that forward move. 11, 12, 11 3/4, 11 3/4, and then bang, you got it. That's 6 1/4. That was the day to be on him. Named for Rocky Balboa, I'm imagining. Maybe not. But now what does he do off that? Typically, they stay the same, regress a little bit. I think you're going to have to be a little bit faster than 6 1/4 to win the Remsen this year. So I'm going to vote no on Balboa. But it's a great, and you get the sheets for free. Go to Thorograph, pass the wire race of the week, download them for free. You'll see the pattern. Balboa is an excellent example of why I love that steady progression or steady holding pattern. talking, which is what we're doing. Another one with a great pattern. 7-7 paired for Danny Gargan, who's facing a suspension for unrelated matters. But that's nice pattern. Where's he go? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Definitely live. We're going to need the past performances here. Last, not least, probably dreaming. I don't think we're dreaming. I think we're really here. 14, 7, 9, 9. Regressed off that forward move. Now we got another horse, interestingly enough, that went 14-7, Todd's horse, that I think is going forward. This horse certainly didn't. This horse went 14-7, and then, regressed to a 9 and then held that 9. Where's he going here? I think he's probably going to run around another 9. He's running back quick. I don't see him going forward. I think he regressed off that 7, probably bounced him around a little bit. And I think to see him go forward, he's going to need a little bit of a break. So going backwards, probably dreaming, don't like the pattern. Talking, like the pattern a lot. Balboa, fast race, but don't like the pattern necessarily. Renegade, love the pattern. Con Corneau, didn't like the pattern. Igniter, love the pattern. Courting, love the pattern. Chambersville is a no. Grittiness was a no. I did was a sneaky maybe. Paladin, no pattern, but a great number first out. And if he goes forward off that, he's right with any of them, although he lacks the experience. And day one starter was a no on the pattern. So now we'll get to the past performances under Remsen and see how they tie in, if they tie in, which we already know they tie in. Okay, day one starter. Now we already know what we think of the numbers, so now we'll look. Day one starter debuts at Saratoga at 20-1. You like to see them take a little bit more money than that, especially when they come out of Shug's Bond. Breaks his maiden after that at Aqueduct. Comes back and runs a well-beaten third into Nashua. He was a little wide that day. Shug must see something that I don't. I don't think that he's as good or as fast as some of the others in here right now. Although he's got that fast maiden breaking race in between his other 2 races. He's going to have to prove to me whatever Shug sees. Paladin. Now, interestingly enough, Paladin's a gun runner out of a Tappet. Kind of reminds me a little of Sierra Leone without his experience, but same connections, same sire. 1.9 million, might even be the same price tag. I think Sierra Leone went for something like that. And it's got the same look. Only difference is only one start. It was a gutsy start. And he was actually put up. He got beat ahead and got put up by disqualification. So he's actually technically, although not a maiden, still a horse that never crossed the wire first. But it's Chad Brown. I'm going to say dangerous off that fast number, off the educational race, off the tough trouble, and still dug in fighting. I gotta say dangerous, especially with Chad's history of horses going forward second time out and him not running horses. One of his strengths is in spotting his horses. He never runs them over their head. Very, very rarely. If they don't win, they don't win because it's just one their day or whatever. But you'll never see one in there and say, I was just over his head. Just doesn't happen with him. I did. Mike's horse, Maker, who I thought was a little bit sneaky. And when I look at his past performances, I say, you know what? He's a little bit sneaky. Shipping in from Churchill Downs, had one start at Ellis, but it was okay in debut at Churchill. Then he stretched out, got better at Ellis. Then he won at Churchill in the slop. And then he came back and he did something that I kind of like. He's a Curlin out of a bluegrass catmare, but he made a strong middle move in the street sense and then kind of fell apart a little bit. He flattened out. But a lot of times they make that middle move when they get thrown to the wolves. They flatten out. They come back. It's timed a little bit different. It's Joel Rosario probably going to take back and wait one later run as opposed to that early move. and we already know his pattern was a little sneaky, I think he's a little bit dangerous. Grittiness, Todd's horse, who we like the pattern on, I'm not really in love with the past performances. He's another horse who is a maiden. He didn't get put up by disqualification. He just hasn't won yet. He does put blinkers on. Micropoli. He ran okay in 2 starts at Saratoga, but nothing special. Then he got a lot better at Aqueduct when he stretched out to a mile, when he ran second to Courting, now puts blinkers on. I don't see it. Chambersville has got 3 turf races, moving to the dirt for the first time. So I guess that's how Ken McPeak can fool me with this one, because he's got one that's never been on the dirt, so we don't know. He's a twirling candy out of a Giant's Causeway. They run on anything. I wouldn't say that horse is bred to move up on the dirt, but he's bred to run on any surface that they put him on. So coming out of the maiden, coming off the turf into the Remsen, I'd say he'd be a major surprise to me, but not a shock, if that makes any sense, because McPeak has fooled me with these kind of horses 101 times. Courting, the horse that beat Grittiness. Now, when you look at the past performances, it kind of puts Courting in a little bit of a different light, because we look at, he's got that great pattern and that great number, but he beat Grittiness, who's still a maiden, who I didn't like that much. So does that mean I don't necessarily like Courting? No, but I downgrade him a little. He's out of cavorting. She was a very, very, I forget, I think she was out of Rachel Alexandra, if memory serves correct. But she was a Bernardini, I think, out of Rachel Alexandra. This one, Courting is by Curlin, out of cavorting. 2 nice mile races. She did beat Grittiness easily, so maybe I'm underestimating her a little bit, but I don't know. I don't think I'm going to land there. Igniter for Rick Dutrow ran good at Saratoga at a big price, but I'm going to forgive that because a lot of people weren't betting Rick's horses there at Saratoga. Then stretched out, comes out of 2 key races, wins the stretch out race, nice and fresh, bred well. I think we'll like the mile and an 1/8. The Violence Volatile, who was a sprinter, but by Violence, out of a Malibu Moon Mare, not really bred to excel at the 2 turns, but this horse looks to me like he's going to like it. And his replays tell me he's going to like it. I think he's very dangerous. Concornu. On paper, looks a couple low for sure. Renegade is the other Pletcher horse. He came out of that ridiculous race to It's Our Time, where It's Our Time ran off the screen and won. And then he wins out of that race when they stretch him out to a mile. But that It's Our Time race didn't really come back all that good, because that horse hasn't done anything since then, except get beat at really short prices, burning a ton of money. But this horse did split horses at the 8th hole last time. I like to see that in a 2-year-old. It isn't into mischief, out of a Curlin mare. So I'm not going to say the breeding can get much better than that. Irad rides. Dangerous. Balboa looks like, on paper, combined with the Thorograph pattern as we read it, I'm going to say looks like a likely regression off the big race. Talking. That's that Danny Gargan horse that had that really interesting pattern and looked really good. I like it. I like everything about this horse. I like his first race at Saratoga, where he was dead game in 1, took enough money to be taken seriously. Then he comes out of that Napoleon solo race, which might be a really, really good race. I think Talking is very, very, very dangerous. Good Magic Cult out of Tisnow. Kendrick puts his horses in the right spot, rides well. I think he's a little mad at me right now because of that article I wrote, but That's his fault, not mine. Sorry, Kendrick. Love you anyway. But when it comes to race riding, he's a heck of a race rider. I think this horse is very dangerous and one of the horses to beat. Probably Dreaming. Hasn't really run bad yet. Did bring the Delaware form to Aqueduct. But I think that the Champagne was better than the Nashua. I rated a lot higher, and I lean in other directions. So looking at both the Thorograph and the PPs, I'm going to say I should have moved these again, but I didn't. You could do without seeing my face for a moment. Unless you, I mean, you might be able to see me. I just can't see you. So hang on. Combining the two, which is what we do when we do this kind of thing. My top contenders are, and not necessarily in this order, but Paladin, definitely a serious contender for me. Igniter, a serious contender for me. Renegade, a serious contender for me. And Talking, a serious contender for me. Those are the four that I will ultimately choose from. I don't think I'm going to choose now which of those I like. I'm going to tell you which one I lean to, but I'm going to reserve the right to make a game time decision because, you know, we want to see how the track is playing. We want to see what the odds are. You know, today is what? Today's Wednesday afternoon. It's a long way till Saturday. We don't get no bonus for deciding who we're going to bet on Wednesday, on Saturday. So hopefully this insight will help you make your decision come race day. But mine is going to come from one of those four horses. And right now, I give a narrow edge to Talking. Coming out of that sweet Champagne. I'm going to give him the edge. But before I make a final decision, I will look long and hard at Renegade, at Igniter, and at Paladin. And it's one of those four for me. Now, it could be wind up getting involved in multi-race wages and wind up those are the four that I use. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Now, the Cigar Mile. Probably one of the, I don't know, I don't want to say worst, but, you know, one of the weaker editions of the Cigar Mile that I can remember. Not what I would call a stellar field at all. And if it's the last Cigar Mile at the Big A, it's a shame we didn't get a more, you know, exciting race and a couple of more stars, but it is what it is. Doc Sullivan. We loved Doc Sullivan last time. We loved him the time before that. I still can't believe he didn't win that day. Last time he was supposed to win, and he did in the slop. Is he good enough to win this race? I don't think so. He likes Aqueduct. He likes a mile, but I don't think so. I really think there's only one horse that could and should win this race. Mike Maker takes Amika from Brittany Russell. Off a big roll, 9-length win, 14-length win, 3 for 7 lifetime, certainly catches the eye. And Mike Maker is deadly with these kind of horses. He's actually taken this horse back. He had him before, and now he's getting him back, presumably, based on the current form, better than ever. But I'm going to say prove it against these horses. Pentalon, Shug, 3 for 14 lifetime, never been in a stake, comes off a good race at a mile. First time he had gone a mile in a long time. He did it before, but never really showed that he was a lot better at a mile than he was at sprinting, although a little better, and he certainly was better last time. but good enough to win here. I don't know. He's never faced these kind of horses, or I should say, the one or two that I'm going to lean to. So he's a pass. Crazy Mason, off the pace sprinter, comes with a nice late kick. But my concern is, even though he's handled the mile before, he's 1 for 3 with a third. These off the pace sprinters, when they go a mile, they often don't have that same kick. And his kick, as good as it been, it has not really been getting him up since the Carter, which was back in April. He's had 4 races since then. Saratoga, Del Mar, Saratoga, and Aqueduct. He hasn't been able to get home. I thought he had a big shot last time. Patriotic spirit handled him well in the Vosburg. He's got IRAD. It's a plus. He should be finishing. That's always good. In horse racing, you want a horse that's finishing, but I don't think he's going to have the same kick going a mile. I'm going to pass. Brazenly, to me, looks a little bit over his head. Phileas Fogg, hard knocker, going to take a lot of money, puts blinkers on, loses Kendrick, picks up Rosario, loves the racetrack, 3 for 5, likes the distance, a first and a second in 2 starts. This is a dead game horse. Looked like he had it won last time in the Woodward until Locke remembered that he's a racehorse and came and got him. Ran good in the Jockey Club Gold Cup to Antiquarian and Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone coulda, woulda, shoulda won the Breeders' Cup Classic, but ran a heck of a second to Forever Young. Just the same. This is a serious horse. He's 9 for 20. He's a major player. Second before that in the Pimlico Special, wins the Excelsior. Just loves to win. Puts blinkers on. I'm not sure why they're putting blinkers on him, but they are. But I don't lean to him. I lean to the horse all the way on the outside, Bishop's Bay, who is 2 for 2 at Aqueduct, is 8 for 12 lifetime, and just has the look of a horse, to me, who is finally putting it together and living up to the promise and hype that he showed his whole career for Brad Cox. He's kind of been a disappointment till now. He's been a horse that always promised the goods and never delivered them. But last time, he was gutsy and gritty. He's on the outside. He sits a trip. He's going to have to make run his best race ever to beat the horse inside of him. No question about it. The horse inside of him is a hard-knocking, tough, proven commodity, and may kick my ass and Bishop's Bay along with him. But I'm going to gamble that Bishop's Bay has more in the tank and is coming to his own, and we see the best race of his 12 to be 13 race career if he retires this year in the Cigar Mile. So I lean to Bishop's Bay. He'll probably be the favorite, even though on merit, I would say the other horse, Phileas Fogg, deserves probably to be the favorite on what they've actually done as opposed to what they might do. But I just got a feeling we haven't seen the best of Bishop's Bay yet, and we'll see it in the Cigar Mile. But if the other horse, Phileas Fogg, kicks my ass with the blinkers on and Joel, I won't be surprised about that either. So there we have our look at the last, or probable last Demoiselle, probable last Remsen, and probable last Cigar Mile from the Big A. A lot more coming up from Past the Wire and Past the Wire TV. Thank you all for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, hit the like button. And more importantly, let's have our little community discussion. Who do you like in the Demoiselle, the Remsen, and the Cigar Mile? Let's see if between all of us, we can come up with the winner of all 3 races. I would think so. I would think if we put who we like in the comments, it's almost a guarantee we're going to have the winner of all 3 races. But let's see if the consensus is right and if most of us are right. And let's see if some of you outright, flat out disagree with me. But if you like the show, hit the like button, leave a comment, let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to see. Don't forget to get your free Thorographs. And thank you all for tuning in. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do. We would love to have you. And why not? Nobody wants to sit in the cheap seats. So ride with us and you'll never starve. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And ciao for now. And ciao for now. Are they talking about us? Shh. Wait. Are they talking about us? I think I heard Past the Wire. Past the Wire TV. They are talking about us. Often imitated, never duplicated. We are everywhere. Seriously? If you're betting horses and not watching these shows, you gotta be freaking crazy. Capiche?
You're watching Past the Wire TV.
And ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to the winner's circle for a very special presentation. Representatives from Handicapping for Horses, along with professional handicapper Jonathan Stetton, are proud to support the work of the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance and Old Friends. Accepting the check for the inaugural Handicapping for Horses event this past summer at Saratoga are representatives from the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance and Old Friends. Gulfstream Park welcomes Michael Blowen, Jonathan Stetton, Kelly Stovey, Jim Rhodes here this afternoon. Since 2012, the TAA has awarded more than $17.2 million to accredited organizations. Handicapping for Horses looks to make their Saratoga Springs event larger and raise money for Thoroughbreds Aftercare year after year. Once again, thank you to Handicapping for Horses, Jonathan Stetton, and welcome to Old Friends and our friends at the TAA. The Rainbow Six and race number 5 up next.
And they're off in the Kentucky Derby.
You're watching Past the Wire TV, the biggest races at the best tracks. From the Kentucky Derby to the Breeders' Cup. The best horse racing coverage is right here on Past the Wire TV.
Dynasty in motion, reshaping the sport's greatest tradition, channeling the legends of his line and surpassing them. 4 of the last 6 Derby winners carry his genes. A Golden Son, a Horse of the Year. Another chapter written beneath those iconic spires. Derby dreams fulfilled for the titans of our industry. From authentic to sovereignty, a legacy both real and supreme. Into mischief.
Here comes journalism, here comes sovereignty, and they square off, head into the final furlong. Sovereignty wins the Derby!
You're watching Past the Wire TV. Hit that like button and subscribe to Past the Wire TV. Nobody does it better.
Nobody does it better.